See, I'm here with a friend and colleague, right, Tavis?
I'll accept both of those.
Accept for those?
I'll accept both friend and colleague.
There you go. Well, we've been through the wars of so
We
much
have indeed.
of political events, and we are at a moment right now in this country's history. What is the significance of this moment right now?
Oh, I'm a history student of American history and certainly African American history, and these moments matter. I believe the symbolism matters. I believe the substance matters more. But it's hard not to celebrate these moments, essentially, Neil, because these victories are not so easily won for us. These victories are hard fought. And I think of Jesse Jackson Sr., who we honored here in this city.
That's right.
At the start of this convention. And Jesse said once of Jackie Robinson, it wasn't that Jackie Robinson was the first Negro who could play baseball with the white boys. He was the first one they gave the opportunity to play baseball with the white boys. So I think of all the African Americans who had the skill set, the talent, the requisite ambition to lead in a variety of spaces, but were denied the opportunity. Thankfully, even though we stand on the shoulders of others, we are sitting under the shade of trees that we didn't plant.
That's right.
We have to admit that, acknowledge that. But because of the service and the sacrifice and the struggle, the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors, we live in a moment, Neil, where we are seeing things that we've never seen before. I mean, think about this. My grandmother, your grandmother,
Yes.
could never have imagined in their lifetime that they would ever see a black president, period. Much less 15 years later, a second one, a black male and then a black female.
Right.
It ain't happened yet, but it's possible. We are on the precipice of that happening. And so history sometimes churns really, really slow. And sometimes it happens at a pace that you can't even keep up with it. And so it's a beautiful thing and an amazing thing to be living in a moment like this where we're seeing African Americans being given the opportunity to do the things that we've always known they could do, but they were denied those chances.
You know, you've, over the years, I remember Covenant of Black America, you've held forums of conversations with thought leaders, citizens around this country. What's that message to folks who are witnessing and experiencing this moment? What do they need to understand about what they can do about moving this moment forward? And I'm saying that hopefully we will elect another black president, but even if we don't, what do we need to learn about how important it is for us to act?
Sure.
And some of the things that you did with the Covenant was about taking action.
That's right.
And I think that's what we've heard all this week.
No, I appreciate it. A couple of things. One, that book, The Covenant, you referenced, was 20 years ago, believe it or not. And next week, on the 27th of August, the 20th anniversary edition of The Covenant comes out.
Are you kidding
You didn't know that. It comes out next week. So it's The Covenant with Black America 20 years later with new essays, some brilliant writers in this. But we're looking back on The Covenant 20 years ago and trying to assess where we are 2 decades later. So the timing of this book coming out now, initially it came out on the eve of Obama's election.
Yes.
Now it comes out on the eve of potentially Kamala Harris's election. So 20 years later, The Covenant of Black America, that book comes out literally on August the 27th. To your question of what we can do, whether she wins or loses, there are a couple of things. Number one, we have to recognize that this is the beginning, not the end. And by beginning, I mean if she wins, that's just the beginning. We still have to hold her accountable. I hope that we've learned some lessons from 15 years ago with Obama.
Oh, yes.
We were so excited, caught up in the euphoria. I get all of that. I call a lot of hell for trying to hold Barack Obama accountable. I said then, I don't hate him, I just love you. I said then, these are my 3 words: respect, protect, and correct. I feel the same way about Kamala now. Respect, protect, and correct. I respect Kamala Harris. I will protect Kamala Harris from any white supremacist attack. But number 3, I will correct Kamala Harris in love when I think she's wrong. Respect, protect, correct. I don't understand Negroes who don't have any sort of critique of any African-American president of these United States. Here's my point. I don't care how black they are. They can be black as Isaac Hayes or black as Yaphet Kotto. I don't care how black they are. The point is that they are still leading the American empire. And anybody leading the American empire, when you juxtapose the American empire against or over and against the best interests of black people, you cannot not have a critique of anybody running the American empire. So Kamala will be right on some things. She'll be wrong on other things. We got to push her into her greatness. Great presidents aren't born. They are made. They have to be pushed into their greatness. There is no Abraham Lincoln if Frederick Douglass ain't pushing him. There is no LBJ if Dr. King ain't pushing him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is no FDR if A. Philip Randolph, Chicago's own, isn't pushing him. So great presidents aren't born, they're made. They got to be pushed into their greatness. So we support Kamala today. We respect her. We protect her. When she's wrong, we will correct her. But we have to be about the business of holding any president, including the first black woman, accountable. And that's what the covenant was all about.
That's excellent. My last question is, we've got almost less than 2 months before this election. We are going to hear a lot of rhetoric. We're going to hear a lot of hate. Black people will be thrown up and under and all around under the bus in all sorts of ways.
That's right.
What's that? One, as media, what do we need to do better about managing that message? Because again, we've been held, rightly so, for almost promoting some of this hate. What do we need to do better as media professionals? And then I want to flip that as politicians, particularly the vice president running for president. What is the messaging she and her campaign are going to need to use to make sure that we can be trusted and be felt welcome into this democracy that we're living in these days?
Yeah, the first question on the media, I'm praying for us. Let's put it that way. I've been very disappointed, certainly in the mainstream media, the way they cover these campaigns. It's always about covering the horse race.
Yes.
They don't get to the issues, right? And with Donald Trump, he's just had his way. I know what's driving him crazy right now is that he's not controlling the media narrative. Kamala is, and it's been that way for a month or so. You know that's making him, I was gonna say pull his hair out, but I won't say that. I won't use that metaphor. It's driving him crazy. So I've not been a fan of the way the media, the mainstream media, has covered these campaigns. Again, always focused on the horse race, never getting to the sustenance of these issues. So I don't know what I don't know what the answer is for the media question. I will tell you this: I believe that black media, like this, is more relevant and more necessary now than ever before. Because there are certain questions that don't get asked if we don't ask them. There are certain issues that don't get raised if we don't raise them. There are certain people doing great work who don't get profiled, Neil, if we don't profile them. So black media is more relevant and more necessary now than ever before. And we need to do our jobs as black media, writing about, and I hope, aspiring to cover issues that lead to public policy positions that are in the best interest of our people, not allowing folk to push an agenda that is antithetical to the best interest of our people. With regard to the party, finally, to your second part of your question, it's very simple. They need to understand, as somebody once famously said, Black Lives Matter. They need to understand that our lives matter. I get so tired every 4 years of having to remind people that too often Democrats take black voters for granted and Republicans flat out ignore us. And it's time out for that. You can't have now, if she wins, the second African-American to be the titular head of the Democratic Party and black folk to still not be respected in the way that we are. I know a bunch of black folk in media right now who are still begging and fighting and clawing for advertising dollars. That doesn't make any sense to me. We should not be begging for ad dollars when we represent the most loyal base in the Democratic Party. So even before you get to the notion of the empire, you got to make the Democratic Party do right by you. So for us, it's always a fight, right? Always. It's a perennial fight to be respected in this country. But I, again, never believe in letting misery have the last word. So the struggle continues, but so does the fight back, and we're going to continue to fight back.
Well, Tavis, thanks for taking a few minutes and joining us on Politics in Color.
My pleasure.
We are here live at the 2024 DNC. Click in, join us in the conversation at politicsincolor.com. Thanks so much.